I'm ArmoredChocobo, and I'm on my wizard arc. This is something a little different because I don't know if I'm going to make it a series just yet. Consider it like a pilot episode for right now. Arcane Assembly. I just got this game like about a day ago, and it seemed extremely interesting. Not because the story is great and all that, it's not even that silly. It is, as the window says, coding magic game. It's a game where you use visual programming to craft spells. I already have a save here. I'm just going to create a new one just in this case, and I'll just call it, for some reason my keyboard ain't working. Oh. There we go. AC. I'll call this one AC. I'm still testing some things out with my other save. It's not a long game. On how long to beat, it has one entry, and it says like almost 4 hours. It's not a long game. Long time ago, there was a wizard named Almar. Almar lived in a village at the edge of Mir, a strange land full of magic. Almar protected the village from the dark force that lived in Mir, and would often travel to the depths of Mir to learn its secrets. One day, Almar decided it's time to teach his daughter Sadie the basics of magic, so she could become a nepotism baby. First rule of magic is this: knowledge is power. With each speech of knowledge gained, the power of a wizard grows. Gonna teach me how to fly? Oh no, that's a level 3 spell. We'll start with the basics. Like jump. This is a Metroidvania, believe it or not. I guess believe it, since that also piqued my interest. If you see my mouse on the screen, it's because there's programming, and we need to program things. I need to be able to point them out. Press Control to heal. You have a limited number of flasks, because this is now a Souls-like game too. Also, you can replenish them at bonfires. All mages wear a magic-infused orb around their neck. In spells, this is referred to as the Self. So I got a little orb. I got a little orb doohickey on me now. Very important. You need a foci. Or at least, materials, if you want to cast magic. Open your spell book and click Create New to make a spell. Now we're getting into why this game exists in the first place. Language of magic is known as Arcane Assembly. Sorcery is about manipulating fragments of magical energy known as orbs using magic. Each instruction in a spell is executed sequentially from top to bottom, starting with the start block. The most basic operation in the language is creating an orb. So we spawn orb on self, which is our amulet. This is the most basic spell you can create. It only spawns an orb and it doesn't apply any effects to it. Give it a title and an icon. Alright, I'm going to use an orb and I'm going to call it orb because I'm super original. And then close. Now you could equip the spell by clicking on it and hitting equip. You could also change the key that activates the spell. I tried using my thumb button on my mouse. It isn't included as part of the buttons you can hit. Unless I could try this button up here. No. Actually, that changes my DPI. That's probably a bad idea. Default is left click. I made an orb. It doesn't do much. Creating an orb isn't very useful unless you refer to that orb in some way. That's where variables come in. Click on your spellbook again, click on the spell, and click on the edit button. Each spell comes in a built-in variable called self. Represents the orb you wear around your neck. Right there. Go to Control section. Drag the new variable block into the toolbox under the start block and above the spawn orb. Now drag down the spawn orb block from below to the new variable block. What does this do? Whenever instructions are nested, the innermost one will run first. Whatever it returns will be passed to the outer one. So spawn orb will create an orb and return it. Then new variable will create a new variable and set that variable equal to the new orb. It sounds like programming. I'm not great at that. If you go to variables, you can see the new thing. Change it to something like orb. Bob. It's Bob now. Orb aspects. Infuse an orb with power, making it deal damage or have defensive capabilities. We have apply aspect. Apply aspect. Find the variable declared into variables and drag it into the first argument. No, I came to abuse. I went to abuse. Now you have to choose which aspect. Use enchant, which is basic damage. Whenever an orb hits an enemy, it'll damage them. More useful if you throw the orb. So use throw. Drag your variable into the first argument. And now we have a throwable Bob. You've learned to declare a variable, set it to a new orb, and throw the orb. You can right-click on instructions to duplicate them. You can also view an entry, which not only tells you how to use the program that you're trying to run, but it also gives you like some neat trick ideas. Like if we do this, we can make an orb that chases our mouse around. So how about we go back and do that? No, wait, I can't do that because I need a variable yet. Hold on. You've begun your journey towards mastery. Here's some useful and powerful instructions. I have no idea what list does. I've never played around with list yet. There's logic, where if a thing is equal to a thing, or greater than a thing, or not a thing. There's math. Mostly I just use find angle. There's senses, which is basically how this thing moves. I guess you could print a message with your orb. If an orb is active or not. Orb. We got set. We got if and ending if. We got the wait. I think we could do that now. What do we need? We need repeat. Unfortunately. But we could do this. Duplicate that. Put it down here. Duplicate that. Put it down there. Now I got 3 Bobs. I got 3 Bobs. I'll apply aspect to all of them. I'll declare I'll declare the new Bobs later. Oh, I forgot to duplicate. Put that there. I'll duplicate the throws. Yes, I know they're wrong because I didn't put the Bob 2. You just get rid of them like that. I'll declare the Bob 3. And now I'm throwing 3 Bobs. Thank you. I now have an orb that'll shoot 3 Bobs. It should. See? Triple shot. Really fast triple shot. Each of them do 5 damage. I'm trying to figure out how to do a spread. Like one goes up, one goes at like a 20-degree angle up, and one goes to a 20-degree angle down, so I can have a big spread. Haven't figured that part out yet. But spawning a whole bunch of Bobs allows me to do more damage. Soon afterward, Alma went on a research expedition to Mir. He never returned. Days turned into weeks and months. Finally, tired of inaction from the villagers, Sadie decided to act. No one else will look for her father. She'd venture in the Mir and find him herself. Now we are all grown up. Trust us on this. We still have our triple orb attack. And we can rest to get our flasks back and refill our health. Frankly, I haven't really found a use for having more health yet. You'll see that a little bit later. The triple orb is very effective at killing things. Especially since you can just spam it. It's basically a machine gun with a burst fire. I've invented a new magic. It's called gun. But we need that repeat spell. Unless I already had it and didn't realize. Let me take a look again. True, false, enchant. Yeah, I don't see repeat on there. That'll allow me to do things. Here's the map. Here is the map. And then Link jumps into the frame. Use the map to remember important rooms. There's no secret rooms in this game, telling you right now. No shooting walls or walking through invisible walls. Actually, the secrets are rather sparse in this game. It's a passable Metroidvania with a super interesting gimmick. You're shooting at me? You dare shoot at me? With one bolt? In my household, we put 3 bolts on it. Look up or down. The camera is kind of annoying in this game. It feels like it's a bit too zoomed in for what it needs to do. Because you might get ambushed by an enemy. And you have very little time to react, especially how quickly the screen moves. Now, how am I even going to get up there? Why do you have a trap up there? I understand why you have a trap here. Okay, that's just mean if I bonk on it, it'll still fall. I didn't notice that one from before. You'd think that's a secret room. No, it isn't. I would have totally put a secret room there. With at least some money in it. Come on, at least give us rooms with money in it. I have the power! We have unlocked repeat. An entry from my father's research log. Must have come through here recently. Now I've got your power. So, yeah, we're just making a new one. It'll give us a throw script already. For, Steve. We got Steve. And we're going to throw Steve, but not at mouse angle. We're going to find angle. What was the rest of that entry? Throw Steve, my angle, Steve. Mouse position. I also need repeat. So, repeat. There it is. Repeat. We're going to do that 20 times. I'll put the end repeat down already. Wait 0.1 second. It's going to find angle, mouse position. Okay, what's the difference here? Repeat and repeat. My orb, mouse position. That should work. That's exactly the way I have it. Sadly, apply aspect doesn't have anything. Make the orb track the mouse. I'm triple checking it. Oh, I forgot to put the Steve variable in for angle. It's gonna get thrown multiple times. You know what? That's a fine icon for throw. And that'll be on the right mouse button. That's what happens when the orb gets destroyed too early. That's why it can't repeat anymore. But it's just going to keep on chasing the mouse until it runs out of uses. In fact, I think there's too many repeats on it. The orb is disappearing. The orb's disappearing before the effect is over. So there we go. It works better now. It's not as useful as you think it is. It's just real neat. And I guess you could shoot it around corners and stuff. Stop that. Like you could do something like that. The enemies are so aggro that it's probably not going to help you in the long run. It's just neat that you can do that. Everything bleeds money. Lameza would love it here in Programming Magic Land. Oh, by the way, boss! Apocrita the Immense, torturer of 1,000 men. It's like a Joel Haver type name. Fangdorlia the Devourer. The consumer of stars. Eat machine gun and die. Or maybe my repeating shot. That I guess kinda counts as homing. How come you get to shoot so much magic and I don't? How come your mana isn't depleting as quickly as mine is? You gotta do summon the bees that shoot bees out of their mouth? With their bee modifier? Of course it's the first boss, it's gonna be easy. But a lot of these bosses are easy. Let me tell you what. I got Orbit! Orbit is one of my favorites. So we're gonna get rid of Steve. We're gonna get Chuck. It's Chuck now. Steve is gone. Let's dismantle all of this. We're still gonna apply aspect to Chuck. We got Orbit. Let's view entry on Orbit. Orbit will orbit the thing that you set it to. So if you set your orb to orbit you, you get like a little damage barrier around yourself. Not a shield. It's not a shield. It won't take damage for you. But it will do damage if something gets too close. For its duration, anyway. You could orbit 2 throw orbs in this example. Apply aspect 1 orb, apply aspect other orb. Let's see how this looks. So I'm going to throw... Let's read orbit again here. Okay, throw orb from self. So it's going to throw an orb out of me. And this is going to have an orb orbiting it. So we're going to need a new variable. Where's my new variable thing? There it is. It's Charles. Apply aspect and orbit. Charles is going to be the child of... Oh, okay, I still need to spawn orb Charles. On here. Spawn orb Charles. Spawn orb Chuck. Oh, actually, it's spawning orb from myself, right? Orbit? Spawning orb from self. Actually, this would probably work if we did spawn orb Chuck. So the orb is going to come from Chuck instead of me. So let's see how that works. So apply aspect to Charles. Charles is an enchant, just like his father, or mother, or brother. Charles is going to come from Chuck. He's going to orbit Chuck. And we're going to throw Chuck at mouse angle. So this, if I'm assuming correctly, we're going to throw the first orb, it's going to spawn an orb, and it's going to start rotating. That's what I assume is going to happen to my throw. There we go. I got an orbit. I got an orbiter. One's going straight, and it's got a little planet. And we could do that several times. Actually, we could probably do... where's my repeat? Maybe if we repeat this like 45 times, 5 times, and repeat. Yep. And when the parent orb dies, it just kind of just spreads out. It's not as uniform, though. Maybe if we do repeat 10. Hi, this is future me. For some reason, I hit a hotkey, then muted the rest of the video. So I'm going to try to remember what I was saying at the time before we continue. Because the audio just got cut off. And we could try putting a weight on that too. Like 0.01. Doesn't need to be long. That works a lot better. That's working a lot better. And also, the parent orb seems to stick into walls on occasion as well. You get a nice, effective little spiral going on here now. And once a parent orb hits a wall, or an enemy, it just spreads out, doing even more damage. Of course, the modified orb, it was destroyed. It hit a wall. Welcome to Faye's Mystical Herbs and Teas. What are you interested in buying? Actually, I'm looking for someone. Did a tall man with a graying beard and a wizard cloak come in here recently? Oh, that's like everybody in this village. Oh yes, a few weeks ago he came in. He didn't stay in town long. Okay, thanks for the information. Mana potions. If you're going to be messing with a lot of spells, you need a lot of mana and mana regen. And there's vitality potions as well, but mostly you need mana and mana regen. I'm going to have to come back here with more money later. Yeah, we could cast a lot more of these bad boys now. As I mentioned before, I don't think there's going to be a series just yet, because I need to figure out more broken things you can do with spells. I would like to get a spread shot in place. There is some spells that are done by the community. You can see them on the Steam guide. They get kind of ridiculous. People are throwing like shapes with like electricity in between all of the orbs, and they're just absolutely shredding enemies with them. The spells could be absolutely broken in this game. It's very Noida-ish. Very Mages of Mistralia-ish. In fact, I brought it up to rain because it looked very You see what's going on there with that bush, right? Oh my god, did you just warp reality with your magic? Good night, folks.